Good afternoon, everybody. Someone asked me to do a reading on Vivekananda, and there's some questions here as well that were on my channel that we can just put out there and get them answered as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with Vivekananda's reading. Okay, so interesting, right away you can see around the heart center there is a no. It's interesting, I'm hearing he won't respond to questions. Okay, is this right? That is correct. Okay, so Vivekananda, I've never had this happen. Vivekananda will not respond to questions. So let's see if it's okay to just read the energy about him. Okay, so there is a yes, but questions, no. Absolutely not. But we can still put them out and get some answers. We just won't get satsang or get any discourse from him. Okay, that's okay. So and again, you can see this no, you just won't get anything like that. All right, it's not like I was planning on that. I just, it just came out. So there we go, there you have it. Okay, but let's see about his energy a bit. Okay, so free of some wounds, this Swami was free of some wounds. Man of arrogance towards the beginning, especially of his journey. He would, and I see some doors shutting really on his heart that he would not really, what's the word? Open his heart to connect with different energies. And, okay, so that left him not available, which, again, it feels a little bit now like what's happening. Is this the same thing? It is a bit. So, and we could even be getting a reading a bit about where his consciousness is now. Is this true? Yes. Never know with these readings. Okay, so that left him not so available to energies, and he just could not. I see him kind of putting his hands to his head, and he's just putting his hands out like, it's kind of in frustration or something, like, how could this be true? Some of these things I'm hearing about, certain ecstasy states, samadhi states, enlightenment that people speak of, and Swamis, I just have not, it's just the feeling is he couldn't understand them. He struggled with that a lot. Okay, so he did find Ramakrishna at a certain point, and that one that was of the bhakti nature, Ramakrishna did impart some wisdom to him. Vivekananda did not trust always what his words were that came, or trust his different states, his different spiritual experiences that Ramakrishna was displaying or speaking about. So, I just see it's interesting because I see a lot of like radio waves in my head. They're sort of they're not smooth, they're jagged. Okay, so the way the communication, could not get through, like there wasn't a smooth current in which it could enter into him. Right, so this is him. They did build a lot of structures with his name on them. He did do a lot of traveling. He was a man that spoke eloquently, and so it really it captivated audiences when he walked in. This, elegant, I guess, or man that had this appearance of the Orient, or of, somewhere far away in distant mystic land that came and spoke like to the west or all around. I think, the east, west, just he spoke and wore his ochre robes, which, again, people were drawn to that. They liked the way he spoke. They liked the way he put words together. They liked how he made something that seemed so mysterious, not so out of reach to them in a way, like, oh, these are beautiful words. This could maybe come into me. And their minds kind of drifted off into these possibilities. And so he did a lot. I see him on a podium, more like an orator, where he did a lot of that. And he was able to kind of, bind people together a bit around the world and globe with this ways that he spoke of Hindu and meditation, I guess, a bit too. All of it, he brought out, meditation, you can see getting smaller. Sounds like it was more very political. You see it get bigger with the pendulum. It was very many political speeches, that came from, he's kind of like a statesman type, is what it feels like to me. And the pendulum saying yes to that and getting really big. He's like a congressman would be, or someone that came to speak, and it sounds like he did this pretty well. Okay, let's see. So it gets a little bit smaller, but he was good at that because of his language, of his style, of his dress. Okay, he just had a way about him that way. All right. So let's see what else with him. Vivekananda, did he have kundalini? Did he have kundalini in him? Okay, so you can see a no. There was no kundalini, and this, was probably part of it. That's why he was more mental based, because the kundalini will come in, and even if you're mental based or whatever, if you are open to it, it's going to start breaking down that sense of, logic. Everything being logic-based and trying to understand it through mind, through thought, through reason. And this really sounds like what Vivekananda was about. Okay, so he kind of left, I guess, a mark on people because he just had that presence, as was said, in that way that captured them. But in terms of him having kundalini, it looks like no. Okay, was his mind still? No. Okay. Was there phenomena with him? Any phenomena? Go up to the brain and the mind, the third eye. Let's see, let's travel there and see if we get, there was a slight yes there. So he did, he had some dream states. He had some sense of visions. No, more, he did have some visions. Let's see. Okay, so not really mystic visions so much. Again, these are more just ways that he felt and thought that were spiritual, is what it feels like. And that's pretty light, but that was there with these feelings, this, certain thoughts, a voice. He put a voice to that. But again, was he still? Okay, he was not still. And when you look at him, you really get the feeling of, what's being spoken of. Sometimes these things burst people's bubble. They have a really attraction to a form that presents a certain way. But when we look at the interior of it and look at the energies that live within it, this is what we're speaking of. Okay, so anything else there? Let's see what his... Okay, so in terms of his death, there was a question where Vivekananda said the body cannot contain such high energies. So this is why he dropped. Okay, you can see this getting very strong. It's a strong no. It doesn't mean he didn't say those words. He did say those words. But let's see if this was true. Okay, so no. That's not the truth about his death. Okay, so it wasn't like, and I see this box that just is so, have this potent energy, and this box just breaks open, it bursts open because it's so strong. Okay, that isn't the case with him, although he did look forward into the future, or prophesize or whatever, that he would pass at a young age, or within his 40s. I think he was in his 40s, but he didn't, that's what he felt. And, okay. So is this true of those that are enlightened, that the energy is so strong in their bodies and their bodies can't contain the energy, and so they just drop? Okay. Is this true of enlightened ones? Okay. So you can see a no. So, it's a statement that came and from him, but it doesn't have any, I guess, any spiritual basis for that to be true, or you just don't even read about it, or in a way that it seems valid. Anyway, all I can do is say, show you what the pendulum's saying. Okay, so in terms of his death, people would say, oh, he left from the fontanelle, the top of his head, the spirit just kind of drifted away, and, okay, so let's see a little bit more about that. Okay, so he was, he had different decaying things that went on in his body that were weighing on the matter of his body, or the, the material aspects of it that, were working on him. Okay, so how did he know he may pass at a, middle age, I guess? How did he knew that? Why did he feel this way? I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get, messages from him. No, we're not. But, okay, he may have just sensed it. People can sense these things about their life, not so way out there. Okay. But in terms of his passing, did his spirit leave through the fontanelle in his head? Is that what happened? Wow. Boy, it really, kind of putting a stamp of no on these things that have been out there so long that people believe. Okay, so no, so he, with the body, with the form, it was just time. He had a rupture of a blood vessel, and is that pretty much it in terms of that? Did it have any spiritual basis for the body dropping then? And wow, okay, there you have it. No, it was just, it was a disease process. It was a disease process, and that's what caught up to him. We're getting a very big yes. So these things that are out there, all I can do is show you what the pendulum is displaying. And, one can get their own sense of it, or, look into it more, or just take it for what it is. Okay. So, it sounds like his time here had the worth of bringing out concepts, theories, philosophies, ways of, bonding people. Again, like a statesman, he